Well, in this series, we're going to go step by step until we understand what exactly is ailing the boy child. We'll talk to a number of them from different walks of life and see how their lives are like.
Welcome back. Bado tunamkumbuka kijana wa kiume. Well, like I had promised, we need to understand the boy child. The boy child that was born in and lived in a certain way, then later on changed and became somebody else altogether. Ili kwamba tuweze kufafanua na kuweze kujua ukweli wa mambo haya, niliwapromise kwamba nitawaletea mgeni ambaye ni expert katika mambo haya na anafanya kazi katika shirika moja maarufu hapa nchini. She will introduce herself, tell us what she does, and then we proceed from there. Welcome, my dear.
Thank you so much.
This is your program, Barazani na Baraza.
Thank you so much.
Karibu sana. Tuambie unaitwa nani and unafanya nini? Unafanya kazi gani?
Okay. My name's Swabra Mumba, ama kwa majina naitwa Swabra Mumba. Na kazi ambayo nafanya mimi ni I'm a counselor psychologist. I work as a psychosocial counselor with an organization inaitwa Hapa Kenya. Hapa Kenya ina focus on kuangalia maslahi ya kundi ambalo ni LGBTIQ hapa Kenya, in Mombasa specifically. Yeah, ndio kazi ambayo nafanya. So kazi yangu ni kuketi na kutoa ushauri, kujaribu kuangalia kama counselor, kutoa ushauri.
Yes. Sasa mwenzangu, tumekuwa na mazungumzo na watu fulani. We are in this program we specifically focus on the boy child.
Yes.
In essence, well, some of us who are probably religious believe that the man is supposed to be the head of the home, just like Christ is the head of the church. In Islam, at the same time, it actually tells us that the man is basically the head of the home.
Yeah.
You're basically a reflection of ule ungu. Mungu ametuumba sisi, kwa kuwa hawezi personally kufanya mambo, ule uungu amempa mwanamume. But the society that we live in today is basically changing in such a way that tunawakosa mababa pale nyumbani, tunawakosa husbands pale nyumbani, tunawakosa watu wa kutupa kielelezo pale nyumbani ama jinsi ya kuishi pale nyumbani. Na sababu kubwa haswa unakuta kuwa vijana wanapata mwelekeo mwingine ambao sisi hatuna uzoefu nao. In this specific edition we are talking about the gay in the society.
Yeah.
And specifically the boy child who has decided to focus on this kind of sexual orientation. What really happens and what causes this?
Okay. So there is several explanations or theories that explains why a child ends up being gay. There is biological, that's chemical, ama kemikali katika mzazi, mama akiwa na ujauzito. Kuna studies ambazo zilifanywa wakasema kwamba okay, genes ambazo zinatoka ni zinakuwa inherited kutoka kwa mababu na mababu. Ikiwa labda babu alikuwa gay, pia kuna uwezekano unaweza zaa mtoto ambaye ni gay. But kuna studies ambazo pia zilifanywa na zika sort of refute hiyo kusema kwamba especially ya twins, walijaribu kufanya study ya twins wakarealize twin moja alikuwa gay, mwingine hakukuwa gay. So ingekuwa ni gene, ingekuwa wote wawili ni gay. So there are different explanations ambazo zinasema, ingine ni environmental, malezi, so ni mambo mengi ambayo yanasababisha mtoto kupata kuwa ile hali.
So what you're trying to say is it's not a choice.
It's really okay, it can be a choice, it could be a choice, because you wake up having these feelings. It's upon you to make that decision that I really want to go this way, or I want to suppress this and let me just move on in this other way.
What you're telling me, it can actually be suppressed.
Yeah, if one, everything
Scientifically,
is, yeah,
it has actually
yeah,
been proven.
it has been proven.
It's basically
that
what you think.
It's what you
is what
think,
you become.
yeah. It's only that there is feelings. Ni kama a good example, in Q, when you're thirsty, you need water, yeah? You have feelings, you have this inner feelings that, even children tend to get confused. Why am I not attracted to a woman? Why am I attracted to a man? Or why am I attracted to my fellow woman, Why am I not like this other person, They have these questions. And, it is so difficult. And sometimes even to explain to a child. And even a child to explain to their parents that, Mom, this is what I'm feeling. And that's why you see most of the children sometimes when they grow up, especially in the US, because of the culture that you are brought in and the religious cultures and the values that you are brought in, it is difficult for a child to even say it. So they end up, developing depression and they end up committing suicide. Yes, yeah. So it is difficult. It's not easy, It's a norm, it's against our norms. Yeah. So it's difficult.
This is a thing that happens to us and sometimes nitachukulia kama ugonjwa. Wakati mwingine mtu akiwa mgonjwa, unakuwa mgonjwa na unakwenda kwa daktari ili kwa daktari akutibu. In essence, what I'm hearing from you is that if one has those kind of feelings when they are young, this can actually be mended, probably through medication or something to that effect. That's my understanding.
Not really medication, because there's no kind of medication. You see, in early 80s, homosexuality, is 70s and 80s, there is a book that we use to do assessment. It's called DSM, Diagnosis Statistical Manual. In the DSM, homosexuality was one of the, it was in the book. It shows all kind of mental illnesses in the world that is, researched and known. So homosexuality was part of mental illness where, yeah, you're a homosexual, you'll be taken to an asylum, you'll be treated, If you look at the very old movies on homosexuality, you see somebody was taken to an asylum and a mental hospital to be treated. Later on, they came to realize it's not a mental illness. So you can't treat it with medication. This is it's a thirst. It's something that either, if it's true that it was medically or biologically inherited, how are you going to change that? It is difficult. Yeah, you'll have these feelings. You can suppress them so that you can please, the world. Let's say, yeah, but you still have the feelings inside you. How are you going to, get out of the feelings? So my work as a counselor is to help you. If you want to suppress, then help you learn how to suppress them. But if you can't suppress, then what happens? Yeah.
That is why I'm still of the opinion that while you're still young, a lot of things can actually be mended in your life. And this, like I said earlier, the essence of this show is to try and create that man that we all aspire to be. To try and make that boy be the man that we aspire them to be in the society. To make that boy be the father that we aspire and wish for them to be. So in essence, I'm actually looking at that tender age. The people who are supposed to be taking care of us when we are that young is father and mother.
Yeah.
And more often we actually get to find that the society has become, to use a very bad word, rotten. That we don't value marriages anymore. Fathers walk out, mothers walk out on their children, and the children are left to wander and get to find their way in this life.
Yeah.
Don't you think that has got an impact to the kind of boys that we're actually raising today?
It does. It does. When we grow up, we in developmental stages, we go through different stages. Yeah. So there is a stage that a child, especially when they're around 3, 4 years, 5 years, a child really needs to be with their father, especially a boy child needs to be with their father. They need to learn. That's the time that a child really questions, like especially like at that time when you look at children at that age, utakuta mtoto anajaribu kuangalia uchi wake, kwa nini uko tofauti na wa mwenzake wa kike. Why am I like this? I don't want this, I want it to be cut so that I'll look like my sister, you know? And that's the time that the father is supposed to be, you know, present. In their present, yes. Yeah. So that they know that a man is supposed to be like this, they're supposed to look like this, they're supposed to do like this, you know, and learn. But if they're not there, then it becomes confusion for this boy child. They grow up with a lot of confusion because sasa wewe una grow up na mji ambao uko na wanawake peke yake, you know, it becomes difficult. And that's why if parents, especially urging single parents, single mothers, if you have a child of that age or growing up, at least make sure that you have a father figure. Father figure could be your father, your own father, your uncle, your cousins, your brothers, yeah. At least once in a while wakuje kuvisit, wakae na yeye, wacheze na yeye, so that aone ya kwamba mimi si kama dadangu, ama mimi si kama mtoto wa mimi si mtoto wa kike, lakini mimi ni mtoto wa kiume, and this is how I'm supposed to do. This is how I'm supposed to live as a man. Yeah.
The masculinity aspect.
Yes, masculinity of that
great,
aspect.
Great.
Yeah.
So it actually means the presence of a man figure or a male figure.
It's very important.
It's very important
very,
for
very
that
important.
boy child
exactly.
to grow into the man that we actually aspire
exactly. to. Yeah. Hata wakikosa baba, most of the time kama sasa tunaona parents like taking their children to their pastors, village elders, you know. Kuna kuanga na hizi there's this traditional gatherings za vijana. So yeah, and then nowadays we have mentors. We have mentors who are mentoring young boys. So unakuta kijana ikiwa ameanza kubalee, kuna na counselors who wanawachukua, wanaenda mahali kama ni kwa hoteli for like 1 week. Vijana wanaelimishwa kuhusu kupata kujielewa, physical changes, alafu sasa na vile maisha inavyotakikana kuwa kama mwanamume. Yeah.
There's also this aspect of the boarding schools that we go into, especially the boarding schools, the boys' boarding schools that we go to. There's been a lot of speculation, so to speak. Let me say speculation because I've never experienced it, I've never seen it, I've just read about it and heard people talk about it. That there's a lot of molestation on the boy child that happens in there. And what basically drives another man to actually do this to a boy?
You see, like when I look at boarding school, especially for secondary school and early, maybe upper primary school, most of the time it's all about inaitwa nini, kutaka kujaribu kufanya kitu, kutaka kujua kinasikika vipi. Yes. Watoto wetu wameharibika sana. Na kuharibika ni kwa sababu ya kuona pornographic. Right now if you talk about pornographic, I think it's
everywhere.
Everywhere. It's like everywhere. You click your phone, you just see it. So what do you, this is a child that has not seen anything and you show them that, I'm so sure utamweka akili yake ianze kufikiria hii kitu nimeona hapa na huyu anakaa kama anafurahika, so mimi pia nikijaribu naona nitafurahika, so they will end up trying it. Yeah. Another thing, especially in boys' school, there is no girls, so the only place that you can start your experience is on another boy. So it just happens, and it happens in prisons. Prisons inafanyika kwa sababu hakuna wanawake, ni wanaume na wanaume peke yake, and that's why wanaume walikuwa wanataka haki zao ziweze kubalika, so that they can have, visitation ya wake zao, ili ile hali ipate kufanyika kule, wasikimbilie wanaume wenzao. So environment also in effect, so unakuta ya kwamba hali ya kuwa kupata yule another opposite sex hakuna, So what do you do?
You actually land on
Exactly.
another
Yeah.
which is very unfortunate.
Exactly. Yeah.
Religious organizations are a place where we go to seek solace and we go to seek God's presence. It is supposed to be a place where we are supposed to be kind and humble and teach those that are below us the goodness of human being, of being human. Utu, kama tunavyosema wetu pwani. But unfortunately, we again have heard in the all sorts of media that it is our pastors, our fathers, our ma'alims, our sheikhs, our the heads of these religious institutions are actually the ones who are spoiling our boys. What do you have to say about that? Because based on your experience, I'm pretty sure you must have encountered such like cases.
Yeah.
Just the other day, I think, was it in Lamu, one of the madrasas, the teacher was, I think, jailed for I don't know how many years because it was actually proved that he did this to this young man. And I know there are so many cases of that nature, even in our churches.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that?
One thing, if you take a child to a school, you know, they have this security. But you forget that there are also people who have a type of mental illness called pedophilia. That's a mental illness that one can have. And with that mental illness, one can be able to, you know, do such things without even showing any kind of mercy, you know?
Just so that for a layman's understanding, what is pedophilia?
Pedophilia ni ugonjwa wa akili. Mtu anakuwa na hamu ya kufanya mapenzi na mtoto mdogo. They don't even have any sexual feelings towards, ndio labda itakuwa lakini si sana, lakini akiona mtoto mdogo hapo ndo anafikiria ako sawa, you know? And those are the people who really destroy our children. In my own experience, most of the gay men that I have, you know, encountered in my experience and in my counseling sessions, unakuta wanakuwa na story ya kwamba walirepiwa na either wajomba, marafiki za baba zao, ndugu zao wakubwa. And I had a case of a man of around 38, 39, yeah. First time amekuja, you know, counseling na, you know, we really talked, but later on I came to learn that kuna behavior alikuwa na, he drinks a lot, anakunywa pombe sana. And you know, sometimes people drink alcohol, there is either kuna reasons, na reasons lazima uangalie what is the underlying issue, you know, ambayo inasababisha ile mtu kupata kuna ile pombe. There was depression, yes, but there must be something that started. Kulianzia mahali. Yes, kuna mahali ilianzia, yeah. So what are these triggers? So when we talked, you know, several sessions, like one session can take like an hour in a day. So several sessions, eventually I came to learn that this boy had, he was raped by his own uncle. Yeah, when he was only 7 years. And this happens because at that time mamake na babake walikuwa wamekosana. So mama alikuwa anaishi peke yake na huyu kijana pamoja na ndugu zake. Sasa huyu mjomba alikuwa akija pale nyumbani most of the time, and he would rape this boy na anamwambia ukiongea nitakuua. You know? So to protect himself from that, akaibeba. He has never told anyone. So he grew up with that. Yes, he practices homosexuality, but at the same time he has this bitterness. You talk to him, you feel you're talking to a 7-year-old child, because anaongea mama hakuwa karibu na mimi wakati nikiwa nafanya kitu kama kile. Mama hakuni protect. This is yes. Huyu ni mtu mzima anaongea, lakini at that time vile anavyoongea utafikiri ni mtoto mdogo. You know? He's so bitter, he's so angry. And whenever he's feeling that way, he numbs the pain with alcohol.
A child is a very innocent creature, and they trust anything and everything.
Very
that comes
true.
their way.
Very true.
And they operate on trust.
Very true.
They will believe what you tell them, they will believe how you deal with them, and probably that is the reason some people take advantage of that.
Yeah, yeah.
What can we do as a society to stop this?
The only thing I can say is parents need to be very, very close to their children. Talk to your children. Let them be your friends. I'm so sure a child will start telling you things. You go to a GBV clinic right now and talk to the nurses and the counselors who work there. They'll give you a story. Mama ikiwa ama baba ukiwa huko karibu na watoto wako, how will you know that your child is being molested? You won't know.
No, you will not.
You will not. You see? So talk to them. Be close to them. Don't condemn them. You know? If your child comes to you and tell you, Dad, I don't have any feelings for women, I have feelings for men only, usikuwe mtu wa kwanza kumkondem. Muelewe kwanza. Mlete karibu na wewe. Jaribu kuongea na yeye. You know? If a child akiwa karibu na wewe, atakwambia vitu vingi sana. The cases that I have experienced in my, nikiwa katika hali ya kazi, nyingi ni kuwa wazazi wako mbali na watoto wao. Hata akiwa karibu kuna ile hali ya ukaribu, lakini kuna nowadays a lot of most of our parents ni hali ya dini imetufunga macho, inatu protect, yes, but sometimes dini inatufunga macho tupate kuona watoto wetu kile kinachowasumbua, So let's say in my Islam community, mtoto anakuja kwako akwambie, kitu ya kwanza atafikiria nikimwambia my parent that I'm doing this or I've done this, kitu ya kwanza itakuwa ni haram. Or mzazi ambaye ameokoka atakuja kuambia ashindwe, something like that. Get close to your children, talk to them, let them be very open. Talk about, sex educate them as early as possible. Ukiona mtu amefanya kitu ambacho si cha sawa, mtoto atakuwa amejua ya kwamba mimi hapa nimefanya kitu ambacho si cha sawa, ama huyu anataka kumfanyia kitu ambacho si cha sawa, atakuja kukushtakia, But ikiwa wewe kila wakati wewe unasema nini, unamchapa, they will not be able to talk to you. They'll shy away,
The same boys that we are talking about sometimes engage in drugs and abuse alcohol and this kind of stuff. Does this contribute to the kind of lifestyle they live?
Possible. You never know. And that's why when you're dealing with a case of a person who uses alcohol or drugs, don't look at what they're doing or what they're taking. Just think about what has caused them to be that way. Hakulelewa akiwa ni mlevi, unless wewe kama mzazi umemwanzisha kutumia pombe, ama environment kama hao watoto ambao wamelelewa mahali kuna mangwe ama mahali ambapo wanauza hizi pombe za kienyeji, majority end up being alcoholics, because nyanya hana shida chukua kunywa, ama nenda kaibe kunywa kidogo, pole eventually become alcoholic. That's different. There are people who take alcohol because they are numbing some kind of pain, trauma. They're traumatized, but they can't. A boy child, it's not like a child. Sisi wanawake, it's easy to talk about. Nitaketi na rafiki yangu nitamwambia. How will you sit down with a fellow man or a woman umwambie mimi nimefanywa hichi kitendo? It's difficult.
No, it's not easy.
It is difficult.
It's not easy.
So the only thing is just hivyo sasa kuongea, being open and all that. Yeah.
It's really sad that we are losing the boy child because of some of these things. And what I'm actually hearing is that if we don't have parents around us or close to us, or we don't have friends that probably care about our welfare, and in essence inakuwa ni sisi bendera fata upepo,
exactly.
Then at the end of the day, I don't think we'll get a very good society, in future. What would be your advice to the society out there, and especially now na hii mada yetu kuwa kuna vijana tofauti, na hawa vijana tofauti wamekuwa kwa sababu ya hizi sababu ambazo umetupatia, na hizi sababu they amount to what the society does to them when they are young, starting with the parents and basically the community that they live in, the environment that they live in. Yeah. It actually impacts on them, and they become who they become when they grow up. So in essence, we are actually losing out on the father figure. We are losing out on the man, that the leadership, the male leadership that we aspire to have within our localities and our villages. What would you tell the society out there, especially with regard to the, say, parenthood, say, leadership within a society, say, you're the grown-ups within the society? How are they supposed to associate with the kids? Or what impact do they have on these children that culminate to the person that they become as grown-ups?
The only thing, there's some things that you can't change. There's some feelings that you can't change. But you can nurture that person to become the best of who they are, you know? Telling somebody to get out of this feeling, it is difficult, you see? But if you are able to bring people close to understand, that's the only thing that people look at.
Wawaelewe hawa watu.
Elewa.
Waseme nao hawa watu.
Kabisa. Kwa sababu the more ukinielewa, ndio nitajua. Mimi nimefanya kazi nao kwa muda mrefu sana. Si wote wamesaiwa wanaendelea kukua, you know, with that kind of sexuality. Mtu anafika mahali anaona, I need to get married, I have my own family. Yes, exactly.
So it is possible.
It is possible. But kuna wale they can't at all. Mtu anasema mimi hata mwanamke siwezi muangalia. I prefer just being with a man and that's it. Na anaendelea na hiyo life. Lakini this is a very productive person. Maybe ni daktari, he's a surgeon, you know, he's a lawyer.
Serious professional.
Exactly. Probably hata wengine ni president, you don't know. You know? It's only that ni ile tabia ambayo ni asiri. Tutasema it's a bedroom behavior, let's say. Yeah? Wakati mtu akiwa mtu mzima, inakuwa si rahisi kuitoa pale nje. It's only that you start questioning, mbona huyu hataki kuoa? Wengine they are practicing celibacy, wenyewe wametaka hivyo. But kuna ile ambaye labda ni kwa sababu hizi hisia, and because maybe katika ile nchi haikubali, ndio maana anaamua kuishi ile maisha. But let me tell you one thing. Hata wale ambao wako nyumbani na wameoa, do you know vijana wetu wanaharibiwa na hao? Yes.
Really?
Yes. You go to, right now, you sit down and you talk to any homosexual guy who practices prostitution, let's say, sells themselves. Kwani nkina nana nunu?
Oh yeah.
You see?
Makes
yeah.
sense. Makes sense.
My husband, my father, you know, my uncle, ndio hao wanaenda kule wananunua and that's it. And some even ask for younger boys. Nilitafutia kijana wa shule ambao bado hajaanzishwa, ni muanzishe, you know, give you money, you know, akiitisha hiki anapewa, simu mzuri. So you see your son coming with very expensive stuff and you wonder where do you get the money? Most parents wengine hawata bother. But wale parents ambao wanaangalia watoto wao, they will bother. And they'll ask, where did you get this? I didn't buy this such type of, of phone. Ulitoa wapi? You know? Siku kununulia nguo kama hizi, ulitoa wapi?
It's a trade in itself.
It's a trade in itself, yes. Wengine wananunuliwa, lakini hawapeleki kwao, wanapeleka kwa marafiki zao. Wow. So that akienda kule anaenda, akona zile vitu alinunuliwa. They have money, you know? And then eventually when they go to universities, wewe umemchukulia mtoto wako hostel, yeye anaenda kutafuta nyumba. You don't even care. Umemchukulia hostel, uendi kuangalia ako wapi. So, yeye amewekwa kwa nyumba.
So mzazi lazima awe na ukaribu na yule mtoto.
Vijana wengi wa shule wanaharibiwa na watu ambao ni watu wazima. Watu wazima na akili zao wanaharibu vijana wengi sana. You know? So mzazi mweke mtoto wako karibu. Mweke karibu, muelewe, ongea naye, jaribu. Ndio sometimes as parents we really go extra mile to make sure that we provide for our kids. But you know sometimes we can't, yeah? Just let them understand that, you know, mommy, daddy, you know, this is where I can. Nikipata nitakutafutia. But try also wasaidie wapate kuelewa ya kwamba ile hali kama ni kazi za nyumbani. Let's sit down and decide. Unataka simu, unataka iPhone. Yes, iPhone ni pesa ngapi? Ni 70,000. Sawa? Nitakununulia, lakini ni promise kitu kimoja. Nikikuwekea hii pesa hii simu, nataka uperform shuleni, uwe mtoto mzuri, hapa nyumbani kwa kuna kazi unanifanyia, unanielewa? I want you to be the best of you, who you are. Hii term ukiniprovia ya kwamba umepita mpaka tumefika kile kiwango mimi nataka, then I'll give you the phone, you know. So afanye kitu na wewe umfanyie, si ninakufanyia nina sweat mimi peke yangu, lakini wewe hakuna kitu unafanya.
I'm learning a lot of things here, but it all amounts to one thing, that in this society that we live in a society where my neighbor matters a lot. We live in a society where what we say matters a lot. We live in a society where we are supposed to be my neighbor's keeper. But unfortunately, it is not what it is. And probably that is why we are losing out. You have just talked about the very able people who are actually ruining our children instead of building them.
Exactly.
The very people that we trust in our churches, in our mosques, in our families, are the ones who are actually ruining our children. The very same people that we actually have very high expectations from and look at as role models are the people who are actually ruining our lives.
Exactly.
And in essence, wow, mtoto mleavyo ndivyo akuavyo. Kijana wa kiume anapotea, kijana wa kiume anazidi kudidimia, kijana wa kiume haonekani tena. We have been supporting the girl child for a very, very long time. But we are forgetting one thing, that this boy child that is supposed to be staying with this girl child so that they create that family unit is supposed to have some form of ability and capability of sustaining that family. If we keep forgetting this very serious issue, if we keep running away from this serious issue, if we keep quiet about this very serious issue, our society is going to change and we're going to lose out on our families, our family values, and the structures that we have put in place so that we develop a sane, able, and very progressive society. You're watching Barazani na Baraza.